Hello, friends, and welcome to Rise Up in Real Estate, where we are on a quest. We are looking for the extra in the ordinary. And I'm Tad Fulford, and I will be your host on this journey where we will take an honest look at what makes ordinary people extraordinary. Exactly how can we be extra in our personal and our professional lives? In this season of the Rise Up in Real Estate adventure, there will be a monthly rhythm, meaning each month we will have 4 unique episodes. In one episode, we'll tackle a pressing current real estate industry thought. In another, we will chat with a local difference maker in the real estate space. For our 3rd episode, we will host a respected national thought leader. And finally, we will have a 4th bonus and surprise episode. And in each episode, we will be digging into not only what those people think, but who those people are. Along the way, it's my hope that you'll laugh some, you'll be challenged some, you will get inspired some, and if we are lucky, maybe even figure out a way or two you can rise up in your own life and be the best human that you can be. So the challenge is, let's all rise up. Well, hello, Rise Up Nation. I want to have a frank discussion with you today in our episode. This is a solo episode with Tad, and I am excited about this content that I'm going to share with you today. I want to share with you a conversation that I just had with an individual today that led me to think about some things that I wanted to put out there in the universe and wanted you to be the first to know. Don't normally do this, but I'm going to air this episode this week. So next Monday, this will be live, and normally things are recorded and gives a little bit of time in between, but this is pressing on my mind and my heart from my conversation earlier, and I wanted to put it in the world right now. So today I was having a discussion with someone who's considering a career change, considering doing some things differently in her life and business, and I was having this discussion with her about what it is that she needs. You know, we have talked about this before on these episodes where our viewpoint here in our businesses is that we should start in an entrepreneur world. We should start with what it is that we need to live the life that we want to live, like how much time and how much money. And you know, we have hashed through this on a few other episodes, so I won't go into it deep today, but how much time and how much money do you need in order to live the life that you want to live? It takes introspection. It takes time. It takes really going against the grain and the flow of the world to get by yourself and analyze these things. I'm fortunate enough to be married to a woman who has pushed me to have these conversations with myself over the past 10 years. And I now know where each year will go in my mind, where I want it to go and the things that I want to accomplish. But I'm talking to this person today and asking her these questions, and I could tell from the look on her face I was missing the mark a little bit. And something dawned on me as we were discussing this that I wanted to share with you in detail a little bit today. So we're trying to find out what amount of money she needs to live. So this process is you go through and you add up the bills and you add up the ancillary things that you want to do, the additional things like trips, charity, you want to tithe, you want to pay off a home, car, you add up all of that. And that's what it costs you to live the next year. And you look at how much money that is, and then you figure out in our business what you need to do every day in order to reach that objective. And then you have to ask yourself a few questions like, am I willing to sacrifice the time that it's going to take in order to reach that objective? And am I willing to put in the work? Sometimes the answer is yes, sometimes it's no. If the answer is yes, then you schedule your days and you focus on the compound effect and you work hard every minute, every day to accomplish the things that you know that if you do, this result will pop out on the other end. It's almost like an assembly line. And you played mousetrap when you were a kid, like I did probably. And if you started that thing in the beginning, it would almost always go all the way to the end and catch the mouse. Well, for you, if you do those tasks every day, you will end up with the money and time that you want to live the life that you want to live. And if you're not willing to make the sacrifices, like if it just looks like too much time at work, too hard of things, too many things that you don't want to do, like cold calling or postcard mailing or public speaking or whatever things that you don't like to do. If it's not worth it, then you change your objectives. You say, I'm not going to do this in order to do that. So then you lessen your objectives and you balance. But this takes time. These are things that normally in our society we don't think about. Like we normally go to work, get a paycheck, live our life according to that paycheck. But in the entrepreneur space, it is 180 degree different. It is where we've talked about this over and over, where you can say, I want this, and then you back up your activities. You can leverage, we call it leverage yourself such that you can get almost any outcome that you desire. But as I was talking to this, and this is, a lot of times this is new for folks who have been, lifetime employees in other fields, or they haven't thought much about entrepreneurism, or they, in this case, stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home grandma, looking at living the life that she was living before. She'd never really thought about these things, and I could tell by the look on her face that I wasn't connecting. And it dawned on me that there's a foundational question that you must figure out before, or at least during, the discussion about the entrepreneur's mantra. Like, in order to find out what you need in order to live the life that you want to live, you have to figure out what the why is. The foundational question is, why are you here? Now, this is very philosophical and gets very deep, but I think this connected the dots for this person, and I wanted to share it out there to you guys, hoping it would help connect your dots as well. So let's think about this world that we live in. You're sitting somewhere, maybe in your car, maybe driving down the road. You might be in the shower listening to this. I've had a few tell me that they do this in their free time in the mornings. They listen to their episode while they're driving to and from appointments, or they're doing it in the morning while they're getting ready for work or whatever. But right now you are sitting or standing or exercising. You're doing something. You're in this world. And I want to challenge you to ask yourself this question. Look around you. Think about the things that you come in contact with every day, the way that your experiences unfold, and the things that you get to do, and the blessings and the challenges and the births and the deaths and the ups and the downs, the changes in the weather, the changes in the seasons, the moon, the sun, just the list could go on and on and on out, forever. I want you to ask yourself this question. There's only really two answers. Did this all happen randomly? Was this a random chance, this world that we live in? Did it just happen over time? Or was it not random? Was it by design? Now, there are people, handfuls of people, that would say that this is just a random occurrence over a length of time that puts us where we are, and the things that we experience are just a series of choices, a series of experiences, a series of things. It's like dominoes that one leads to another over thousands of years, and here we are, fully developed and interacting, relating in the things that we do. Some people look at it that way. What I find, though, is that a majority of people that I have this discussion with will have the epiphany at some point in their lifetime where they say, nope, this can't just be by chance. This whole thing has to be by design. And of course, we are in coastal South Carolina. This is, generally known as the Bible Belt. So there's a lot of Christian influence in our, and I use Christian broadly, but Christian influence in our beliefs here, that most people believe that there's some higher power influence that puts things in motion, and did put things in motion, and does have some daily influence on the things that happen to us and the things that we experience every day. But what I want you to ask yourself is, what do you believe? What do you think? Is this just we're in the middle of just a random series of events? Are we an actor in a certain choreographed, to some degree, play? And I don't mean like we're not going to have the predestination conversation. We're not going to have the conversation about whether we can control or not control things that happen to us if they are put in motion and now we can't do anything about it. What I want you to consider is, were you created? Was it accidental? Just a cell and then a birth, and then there you were? Or were you created for a reason? I want to challenge you to think about that. Like, is that too deep? Maybe. Is it too much? Maybe. But to me, it's a question worth asking yourself. And The answer to it gives purpose or not, right? The answer to it gives direction or not. It gives some sort of leading, whether we're going to how we live, right? I mean, if everything is by chance, if everything is just random, then we don't have much control. There is no, it's like there's no definition to, there's no lines, there's no guidance as to what we do and say and act and how we are and what we do with our lives, and really no accountability. But if it's by design, here's the question that you have to ask yourself. If it's not by chance, if this was not, did this all happen by chance, if this was designed to some degree and you were designed for some reason, some purpose, what is it? What is your unique purpose? What is the reason that you're on this planet? So see, I don't think it really matters what amount of money you make or the time that you have if you don't have it or live it or get to gather it and use it for a specific direction and purpose. It's wasted in a way. If everything was designed with a purpose in mind, if there is a higher creature that put all of this in motion and designs each of us, you know, if you are a Bible believer, certainly this is very clear to you, but if everything is created and the hairs on your head are even numbered, then there's a purpose for you. There's a reason that uniquely you exist on the planet. There's a purpose. There's something you need to get done. There's an impact that you need to make that, let me tell you a secret, no one else can make. And so here's some questions. Like, this is a hard thing to ask. Like, if I ask you what's your purpose, that's a hard one to consider, because who knows, right? It almost seems a little braggish to say my purpose is to do so-and-so, but the chair that you're sitting in was somebody's dream. The airplane that you fly on, the car that you drive in, the medicine that you take, the glasses that you wear, the computers that you use, all of these things, and I could go on and on and on, all the boat that you ride on, the surfboard that you surf on, it was all someone's dream. The light that you look at night, the light bulb, the telephone, and the list could go on and on. These were all someone's dream. If they wouldn't have done their purpose, we wouldn't have those things. Like, it would become undone. So what is your purpose? Where are you headed? Let's think about an impact that you could make. Let's dream a little bit. And again, this happens in solitude. It happens with a couple of accountability partners where you can, and I'd be happy to be that person. I'd love to have these conversations with you. Like, what is it? In my experience, there are some questions that you can ask yourself. If you dare get still enough, quiet enough, stop enough to address these things, there are questions that you can ask yourself specifically that will help you discover these things. I've done this myself, and I'm getting more and more close. And I think this is like a journey rather than a destination. I'm getting more and more close to my purpose and what I'm here for by doing these things. And the reason I rushed this episode, the reason I'm throwing it here for you this week, doing it this week, getting it to my editor quickly this week, is not because I don't have other episodes to air, but it's on my mind and heart, and it's pressing. It's the end of 2022, and there's no better time than during this holiday season than to have these conversations with yourself and your family. What is my purpose? So ask these questions. These are better questions that you can ask that will lead you to what is your purpose. Number one, consider your DNA. Like, what's your makeup? What are the things that you are known for? What are you good at? Okay, what do you like and what do you not like? Here's a good exercise to do when you're considering your DNA is ask 5 friends, not all family, not all super close friends, but 5 people that know you, to define you in 2 words. Give them a couple of days and say, hey, or tell them to do it off the top of their head, either one. Tell them to define you in 2 words. Get a sampling of 5 people and see what you find out. I did this before, and it was a little bit shocking to see what people said about me. Some things I knew, and some things I didn't. Now, will they be right on? Will they be spot on? It depends on how well they know you. But the truth is, that's their perception of you. And if someone comes back to you and says you are a calming effect, or you are a great speaker, or you are a caring soul, any of these things, then you begin to put together who you are, and that will lead you to what your purpose should and should not be. If you live or own property along the coast of South Carolina, you probably need insurance. We Insure Advocates is a locally owned, independent agency with industry-leading service support. Our team of customer-centric agents can explain your coverage options and help you craft an insurance program that fits your needs and budget. Data-driven for better value, people-led for better service. That's the difference of we. For all of your property insurance needs, please find us at weinsureadvocates.com or call us at 843-491-6990. For example, if you hate public speaking, your purpose is probably not to public speak. Like your why, to get some great message out, like the great Martin Luther King. If he was afraid of public speaking, I guess Winston Churchill's the opposite example, stuttered like crazy and yet was a great orator together. But what is it that you are known for? What, maybe even take personality traits tests like the DISC analysis or any of those, and find out really what your tendencies are because of your DNA. And you know these things naturally. Like if I said, do you like cold calling? You're either going to say no or yes. You're not usually in the middle there. Do you like public speaking? Do you enjoy being in a group of people? Do you like to read? Do you enjoy movies? Do you enjoy the theater? Do you enjoy rock concerts? Do you enjoy football games? All the parties with friends. Were you in a fraternity or sorority? All these things you can find out about yourself. Define who you are genetically. Like what tendencies do you have? That's number one. Check your DNA. Number two, consider your past. So these things that happen in our past, obviously, if you're trying to unfold your purpose, if you believe everything happens by design and not by accident, then you would believe that your experiences, the things that you've gone through, your past, happen for a reason also. So the things that you've gone through, let's say you've lost a spouse. Let's say you've had a heart attack. Let's say you've been divorced. Let's say you've traveled to every country in Europe. Let's say that you name it. Say you went to an Ivy League school. Say you are a medical doctor, or you're an attorney, or you're a counselor, you're a teacher, you're a nurse, you're a stay-at-home mom. You've lost a child. You've done things. Start analyzing what has happened to you in your life, your experiences, your education, the people that you've known, the places that you've been. Look at your childhood, and you can see all these things have to happen in quietness, and you have to be directed. And that's why I offer, again, let's have these conversations together. I'll help you explore these things if you're interested, because I believe that if you can live with your purpose, then you live with a higher why, and you'll get there faster. And when you're living according to your purpose, it's almost like there is no plan B. You don't get deterred. You do what you have to do in order to make those things happen. So consider your DNA, consider your past. The third thing I like to talk to people, and if you've listened to any episodes of Rise Up in Real Estate, you've heard me ask this question: what is your superpower? What is it that if you could only do one thing, if there was only one thing you could do, what would it be? And I'm not talking about eat chocolate cake. I'm talking about what is it that you enjoy the most about being a human? Like for me, I love to inspire people. I love to speak. I love to tell a joke. I like to laugh. Those are the things that come to mind when I talk about what is it that I enjoy. My superpower, I think, is positivity, optimism, looking at the sunny side up style of life. What is it for you? Are you a realist? Are you funny? Are you just a calming force? Are you analytical? Are you a good problem solver? Do you like to does nothing rattle you? Does everything rattle you? What is it? What's your superpower? What are the things, if you could only, when you feel like, I guess this is the best way to put it, what is it that when you do it, you feel like you're doing you? Does that make sense? Like you just know this is who you are. It's not that you wouldn't be nervous if you were doing it in front of a group of people, but you just know, like me, when I public speak, I get nervous. But once I start, I know, and like doing this episode, I know the words that I'm speaking will inspire and bring inspiration to other people. That's why I do videos. That's why I'm doing this podcast. That's why I like public speaking. That's why I enjoy having coffee with people to encourage them in their lives. So you can see I've found a little bit of who I am. And those things are from DNA. Things are from experience. They're things from all of it. But I find those things and then I follow that path. And the last thing I would ask yourself is, what do you dream of? I think this is a long lost art, especially in the entrepreneur space. Well, maybe not especially in the entrepreneur space, but definitely in our space where we don't dream enough anymore. Like I had a discussion with my wife last night. She had a big birthday yesterday, and we were talking last night at dinner, and she said when she was in her 20s, she dreamed a lot. Like she thought of what impact would I make and what could I do and what difference will I make in the world? And I think as we get older, even though our scope of impact could be greater, we lose a little bit of that luster. We lose a little bit of that drive because we're tired, we're beaten down some, we're discouraged, we're just not as eager like we were in our 20s and 30s. As we get older, some of you are in your 20s and 30s, then you better be going after it. But as you get older, you should be dreaming more, but we tend to dream less. And part of it is we've already made our bed, kind of like we've chosen our path and we don't feel like we can. But I want you, for the sake of this exercise, to dream. What difference do you want to make? Is it a nonprofit? Is it charity? Is it speaking? Is it getting involved in your community? Is it politics? It should be some sort of difference that you want to make. Do you want to support a missionary or a church? Do you want to build houses in other countries? Do you want to solve a problem locally? Do you want to just inspire people? Do you want to go to nursing homes and sing songs? The list could go on and on. You want to take children to school and read books to children. What is it? What do you dream of? What impact do you want to make? So as you start answering these questions, DNA, what's your past? What's your superpower? And what do you dream of? As you start answering those questions and you really evaluate and you start digging, then you will begin to form what I like to call is your purpose, like your why. So here's the deal. Like when you figure that out, when you figure out what your purpose is and what impact you should make. Like for me, if I don't inspire people, if I don't do videos and I don't speak to people and I don't do episodes of the podcast where I ask people questions and dig, and like I did with Pamela Craigbaum and like Lori White and Craig Adkins, and we find out who these people are and we call it what makes them extraordinary, like the extra in their ordinary. If I don't do these things, I'm not living my purpose. And you know what? Does it matter? Like, why should you care? Like, why should you really care what your purpose is? Well, I think since it's not random, you better care because you were designed with a purpose in mind. And if you don't do it, then it's the plan that was put in place can't be accomplished the same way. Like if I don't inspire, there's people that won't be inspired. Could they get inspired by others? Yeah, but that is one less of me, one less of us inspiring people in the world, inspiring others. And that means less people are inspired. And that's sad because my purpose isn't done, and that will lead someone else. It's a domino effect. If someone isn't inspired, then they can't do their purpose. So when I don't do my purpose, it's just not going to get done. And that is the shocking reality of if you believe this was done by design, and you don't do your part won't get done. If you Google this thought and you look on YouTube and watch some videos, I listened to one today that Elizabeth Baker shared with me, and that's part of the reason I'm doing this this podcast episode now as well. Steve Harvey and Les Brown were discussing a similar topic. Like, how do you find your gift and how do you use your gift? And they told, I think it was Les Brown told a sobering story about a man lying in his bed and his dreams were surrounding him. Like he's lying in his hospital bed and he's getting ready to die, and his dreams are all looking at him. Like maybe one's to be on the PGA Tour. Maybe one is to be a medical doctor or be missionary or give to charity, support a school, all those things I've said, like all the dreams that this person had during his life were all standing around him in human form. And the ones that he accomplished lived beyond him, but the ones that he did not died when he died. And that's a sobering thought to think that if you don't figure out what your purpose is and you don't do it, then it's just not going to get done. Think about some of the great... What if Martin Luther King hadn't done his purpose? Mahatma Gandhi. I don't care what you believe necessarily about these people and their purposes, but Thomas Edison, George Washington. I mean, think the list could go on and on. Put the person that you put on a pedestal in your life. What if they didn't listen to their purpose? And guess what? Even if this is random, even if this is a random world that we live in, which I think we've kind of discussed that most people think it's not. If it is random, what is the downfall about trying to find your purpose? Why is that a bad idea, even if this is a random world that we live in? It's not. Find your purpose, do your thing, you impact people positively, and the world is better, even if it's random. So while I was having this discussion today with this person about what is it that she needs to make and what is it that she wants to spend her time doing, and I was so passionate about it, I had forgotten that if she doesn't know why she's here, it's empty. Does this make sense? I mean, it is just an exercise in futility. It's not much different than going to work, getting a paycheck, and just spending it all every week for 40 years. And that's the end of that. It's not much different. If you're trying to find what you need and the time that you need, and you don't know why you're doing it all. So I hope this is enlightening to you. I hope that you can see, and I hope you'll do further research. I hope you'll get by yourself in the next 6 weeks, and you'll sit down, and because I know we're getting ready to have this baby, and I know I'll be holding this baby in my lap, and I'll be thinking, when you go through huge life moments like that, you have a chance to reflect, and I'll be looking into his eyes and thinking, I do this with my children now. What is their purpose? Like, why is Lawton here? Why is Casey here, and Hadley and Hazel and Archer? Why did they come to the earth? And I can already tell, even this is a great example. If you look at my children and you analyze each of them, they have certain gifts and strength. Their DNA is clear to see. Their experiences are leading them certain ways. They will know someday their superpower, and they'll have dreams. And our role as humans is to direct, and that's what I'm trying to do today, is direct you towards your dreams. I hope that you'll spend some time analyzing these questions and thinking about it. And more than anything, as you rise up, and that's the whole purpose of this podcast, as you rise up in your life, I hope, no matter who you are, what company you work for, what age you are, what phase you are in your life, where you're headed, I hope if you think it would be fun to talk about this, that you'd call me, or you'd reach out through email or text, and we can just get together, have coffee, and talk it out, because I could nerd it out with this. Like, I really, really feel passionate about helping people find their why. So I hope you enjoyed this edition of Rise Up in Real Estate, and please don't hesitate to reach out if we can ever help you rise up. Well, hey, that's a wrap, folks. Thank you so much for listening to Rise Up in Real Estate. If you liked hanging out with us today, please find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Rise Up in Real Estate. Also, follow us right now on your favorite podcast host to hear more episodes. We really appreciate you spending some of your time with us. And until next time, let's do each other a favor and all help each other rise up.